Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergok, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at the tragedy of Ainz. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, and say my thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. Ainz is perhaps the most tragic character in the entire story of Overlord. Yes, I know, Arsha wanted to protect her little sisters and ran away from home with them, to then lead a quiet and secure life with them after quitting her dangerous and illegal black market mercenary job in the process. And instead, she was killed by Shelty on her last mission, and her sisters were sold off to pay for her parents' debt, which is sad and all. But that's not the focus of today, as Ainz's tragedy is of a different nature. It's not the typical, oh no, the poor girl just wanted to help, and now this storyline happened. Or the cliché situation where two people fall in love but don't realize each other's feelings over 10 seasons or so, and then a love triangle develops and it turns into a romantic drama, and finally they kiss and then someone dies from a mysterious illness and the show just ends. In contrast to all of this, Ainz's tragedy is more subtle and quite more profound. He lived in a hellish world where the rain, air, and the very ground were so polluted that one could only step outside with a gas mask. His work was long, hard, and tiresome. And despite Ainz being a man who always minded his money, and despite earning as a salaryman very well for the standard of his own world, he lived in a tiny, one-room apartment. Yet, all of this bothered Ainz much less than his very own loneliness. Apart from his online guild, Ainz truly had no one left. He had no extensive circle of friends, and before being saved by Touch Me, he was an outsider. Additionally, his mother died from overwork, something known as karoshi, which is already a significant issue in Japan today, and likely even far worse in the dystopian world of the year 2138. But nonetheless, in the Great Tomb of Nezrek, and in the precursor organization Nine's Own Goal, Ainz was happy. He now had a circle of friends who understood him, where he felt he belonged, and where he could be entirely himself. This meant the world to him. However, as life goes on, you can't have endless time for each other, as there are other obligations. People fall in love, get married, have children, take on other, more stressful occupations to support their now growing family. And then they no longer have time to nurture old friendships. And that's more or less precisely what happened with Ainz's guild members. They didn't part ways due to conflict, but simply because they didn't have the time for each other anymore. And I think that hits many people much harder than the other horrors in Nezrek. I've also mentioned this in my video about Remedios Custodio and why we despise her more. For example, Demiurge or any objectively more evil character. It's because none of us is attacked by a demon horde and being held captive by demi-humans and then is repeatedly stripped of their skin to make skulls off of it. But everyone has had a bad boss, a tyrannical teacher, or encountered officials from some office or somewhere else who, just like Remedios, were difficult to deal with, to say the absolute least. By the way, this is also the reason why Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter is more despised than Voldemort, simply because a bad school director or a bad teacher is a much more direct and more significant problem in one's own life, in one's own experience, than a dark wizard. And precisely this is the case with Ainz here. No one could probably know what it's like to be happy farmed by Demiurge, or at least I hope you don't, but losing friends, having buddies move away, People with whom you used to hang out a long time ago now don't have time for you because of their job, their family, and everyday stress, robbing them of the time to connect to you. And perhaps you yourself don't have the time and the nerves to maintain all of your contacts because you're overwhelmed from stress, from working, from just your life. This is pretty relatable, and maybe you're the one who has to move away. And of course the death of one's parent and friends and relatives. All of this is known from our own everyday life, and therefore all of this hits much closer to home than, for example, the fate of Archer or the people on the Happy Farm, simply because that is far, far, far away and removed from our own everyday lives. And Ainz is still hanging on to this very memory of his friends, and onto a time that will never come back. The beautiful time, the good time that Ainz had with his friends is over, and Ainz knows that. In the conversation with the Swords of Darkness, Ainz even said it himself, that he will never find friends like the ones he had. Not because he couldn't befriend these Swords of Darkness, not because anyone is preventing him from meeting new people, not because he physically can't meet anyone. It's simply because he doesn't want to. He had many good years with his friends and doesn't want to simply replace them, but he wants to rather bring them back, bring back the good old times, even though he knows that this is impossible. And what makes it even harder for Ainz is that the children of his friends, the NPCs, have a part of the personality and essence of his old companions. They are therefore the only thing that remains for Ainz from the most happy time of his entire life. I also have to empathize once again how the anime conveys the material wealth, and that it alone doesn't make one happy. Ainz cannot physically or mentally enjoy all of the luxury within the great tomb of Nezarec. He is undead. He cannot eat, drink, physically laugh, or even sleep in a soft bed, simply because as an undead, he can't sleep at all. All those riches are meaningless to him. Moreover, due to his emotional dampener, he cannot feel real emotions, no great joy, sorrow, or anger, except for very, very brief moments. Ainz is literally emotionally numb. And precisely this is what makes the tragedy of his character so profound. If he were more emotionally invested, if he could indeed be emotionally invested in other things, he could bury the world domination plans, he could stop any cruelty, and of course, he could have spared the kingdom of Relatability from certain extinction. But he knows that his NPCs, the only real companions left to him, want him to act as the undead overlord he pretends to be. He understands how much effort the NPCs have put into his conquest and into their plans, and when it comes to their happiness, to the happiness of the children of his friends, the kingdom of Relatability, with all its millions of people, is simply not important enough to harm the feeling of his NPCs. And again, Ainz understands that Zenek is not a bad person, and he wishes there could have been another way to resolve the conflict. However, he will continue to act as the undead overlord because that's what the children of his friends want. He prioritizes their happiness over the happiness of other people, even if it means destroying an entire nation in the process. Moreover, life at the top is very, very lonely. As the ruler of the great tomb of Nezarec, Ainz has no equals. There's no one he can lean on, share his frustration, or be open with. Instead, he is alone with his thoughts. Overlord, amidst all of the psychological horror stories, be it the cockroach room, neuronist painkill, or the happy farm, also excels at portraying a truly profound psychological horror about loneliness in its narrative. And all of this is made clear in the outro song of the third season of Overlord, Silent Solitude. As I mentioned, I'm always amazed how deep this character and how deep the characters of Overlord are. and how much is truly hidden within the story in general. Alright, so that's my opinion on probably the most tragic character in all of Overlord. And now it's your turn. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts and ideas down in the comment section. And while you type, I say thank you very much for watching and special thanks to Arder Daddy Arder, ASK, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Thiralchivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Le Louche Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Love Razor, Mervek, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Pedipentum Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Cune Kerkos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ed Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon under my next video.